second phase, when they get the second line of credit, we insist that they must open bank accounts. And we're working now with about 8 banks who are very committed to the trader money scheme. As a matter of fact, the banks have also very generously provided phones. So at the moment, we've taken custody, I think, of about 300,000 phones. So for those traders who do not have phones, because a lot of these payments are made by mobile telephony, they are made on a mobile payment platform. So for those who do not have phones, we're able to give them phones, and the banks have provided these phones free of charge. Obviously, they are also looking at the opportunity of opening bank accounts for this large number of people. Of course, the banks are also concerned that the telcos might take their lunch away, so they want to make sure that they do as much as possible before the telcos, because the telcos are very aggressive, as you can imagine, about these kinds of schemes. You've heard already about the Empower program, and this is the largest post-tertiary jobs project in Africa. After, in Africa, and of course you know that you've heard it's 500,000 young people who are currently in teaching jobs, and there are also new roles. There's N Health and N Agric. Some of our Empower graduates have also been employed, as you've heard, as enumerators for data collection and research because of the new skills they've gained. In addition, we have, in addition to the 500,000 graduates, we also have 20,000 non-graduates working in our N-Build program in various construction and automotive and technology sectors. But we recognize that a great deal more needs to be done. And of course, government cannot do it alone. This is why during our focus labs on investments with the private sector, in addition to driving private sector investment, we've also focused on supporting businesses whose capacity to create jobs is high. But I must say that technology offers for us perhaps the greatest opportunity for jobs for young people. Government has supported already several technology hubs across the country. Just last week, I was at the Genesis Hub in Enugu State, and on Thursday, I was at the CAD Hub in Kaduna State. And in each of these hubs, several new businesses are incubated, several go live every day. Fintech companies are growing every day. In fact, our very robust Empower portal, where we engaged all of our 500,000 graduates and where we do a lot of our schemes, including payment, etc., was built by a Nigerian software company. All the enumeration and payment for the over 2 million and growing trader money beneficiaries are done by local tech or tech-based companies. So there is a great deal of activity in technology for young people, a great deal of opportunity, and they are rising to the occasion. Everywhere I go, we have several things we're doing around technology. We're doing university challenges. I've been in Bayero, I've been in the University of Lagos. We're going to Nnamdi Azikiwe very shortly. Every one of those universities, the children, the young men and women there are actually so engaged with technology, all sorts of creative ideas, and there's plenty of room for the work that they are doing. BOI has recently launched a 10 billion tech fund, which will encourage many of these businesses, especially the startups, to start doing some very serious work. In Kaduna, we came across a lady who runs it's actually in the hub, in the CAD hub. She runs a business out processing company where she's training and already rendering service internationally to many companies, service companies. She's trained a lot of these young men and women who take calls and who can answer inquiries on various subjects, from airlines to those who are doing technology-related businesses, to payment systems. And all of these payment systems and companies are actually foreign-based companies that are using Nigerian customer care people. And she has this massive, I think at the moment, almost 300 of those young people. And they work a 24-hour shift, and they're earning very decent money for the work they do. And there is so much scope for improvement. A lot of those who use the services say that because our English language is relatively toneless. There's no tonal interference in the English language. They prefer Nigerians. They prefer Nigerian young men and women rather than some of the places in Asia which they have used in the past. So there's a massive opportunity there as well, and we are going to support those kinds of efforts so that we can actually create more opportunities in that respect. We in the economic management team have also undertaken a very rigorous review of the situations and identified a number of measures that need to be taken to address job creation. These include deliberate engagement with the private sector, and this is one of those, to develop practical training materials relevant to industry, which we believe will guarantee offtake for those that are trained, an adjustment of the current system that implements the Industrial Training Fund in order to ensure that it provides value to employers in the private sector. Now, we've looked also at several of the ways by which we can track and assist job seekers, and we are supporting private sector efforts, especially at not just identifying job opportunities, but building some data tracking system that will monitor progress. I'm very excited about some of the implementable recommendations that have been made today. In particular, the commitment to expand the work being done by ITF and the Employers Consultative Forum, NECA, especially on skills acquisition. However, I think we must emphasize scale, really doing things on scale and training, and of course placing large numbers of young people in the workplace. These must take into account the need to provide real value to the private sector through the ITF scheme, and where necessary, develop optimal incentives to support the private sector. I think it will be important also that we commit to constituting sector skills councils and encourage the development of these councils for various sectors, especially in the sectors we've already identified as being priority for job creation. In some, I am convinced that we can crack the jobs problem, and we are in the right direction. First, by investing in infrastructure. We're investing more in infrastructure today than any previous government in our history. We've spent so far in 2 budget cycles 1.7 trillion in capital investments. That's the largest in the history of the country, despite earning 60% less. I think somebody made the point that we're doing far more with far less resources. And we're also looking at solving the power problem. Now, this is a major problem. It's been identified very eloquently already by Yalode. I think it's very clear that we need to deal with the power problem. And we're looking at how to review the existing structure, how to review some of what happened with the previous privatization, and how to enhance the capacity of those who are doing that business to do better and introduce fresh money into fresh investments also into that sector. And generally, we're looking at how to enhance the business environment. Also, we believe that government intervention, direct intervention, can be improved. Today, of the 500 billion which we provided in 2 budget cycles for social investment programs, we spend under 250 billion in the 2 cycles. We have not spent 500 billion because we simply have not been able to allocate that much revenue to it. And yet, the results are so obvious. We're already employing 500,000 young people. We're giving microcredit to approaching almost 3 million now, despite the fact that we're not even reaching the 500 billion mark at all. We're not even spending half of that amount. And we think that if we're able to spend more, we can truly deal with a lot of the problems around what government needs to contribute to job creation. And we're looking at how to enhance that, how to improve that. One of the very interesting arguments that always occurs when you have when you say you want to do a big social investment program is that the economists and several of our very traditional type of thinkers on how to open up job creation insist that it has to be a top-down approach. that a lot of the investments should go towards enhancing business, current businesses and all of that, which makes sense. But the truth of the matter is that where you have a large poor population such as we have, you must have a massive social investment program as well. You must. Many times at the table, you don't have enough people talking about the large numbers of the very poor. You know, at the table, you don't have that number. So it is for us to look at how to develop those kinds of programs that address the needs of the most vulnerable and the poorest and bring them into the formal markets. I was saying once to some of the government agencies in revenue generation and policy that at some point we were able to bail out banks in Nigeria and we spent close to 5 trillion, over 5 trillion, bailing out the banks. Those who owed the banks probably do not number up to 100, but we spent that much money in 2009, 2010, bailing out maybe about 100 or so individuals. If we spend 1 trillion, trying to bail out the poor in this country, will make a massive difference. Not 5 trillion, 1 trillion. Every year, spend 1 trillion will make a massive difference. So those are the real issues. I think that, you know, when we talk about employment, we've got to look at scale. When we talk about job creation, we've got to look at scale. But we've got to address that bottom of the pyramid, because that's the largest number of our people. So I want to thank you again for the time and attention that you paid to this. And I know that we'll at least hold yet another business forum. And I hope that you will be with us to complete all of what we have talked about, to implement the things that we've spoken about today. And I want to thank you also for the very, very useful comments and contributions that you've made today. And we can assure you that we'll be working on all of the suggestions and working with you day by day to ensure that we're able to do the very best that we can for our people. Thank you.